Sports. Hey, welcome to another episode of Stuff About Sports presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. Tonight, the starting lineup is Bert, Ty, and myself. I am Germ. Gentlemen, what's up?
How we doing?
Living
Listen,
a good life.
I'm recovering of snorting copious amounts of sports over the past week. I've tapped into every vein. I don't think I have many veins left. It's been wonderful. I don't know if it's, dare I say, too much sports. I don't want to say that because we've had a life without sports. So yeah. I don't want to go that far, but the amount of sports I've been doing over the past couple weeks, especially this past weekend with the NFL coming back, has been gross. It's been really gross. So NFL's back. It was different, and so we'll talk about week one in the NFL. We will cover the NBA conference finals, which we'll know officially what it is. We have game one of the Eastern Conference Finals that's on now, and then should be finishing up actually, I think. And then we'll find out who goes and plays the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. We had some big news in the world of baseball, some earth shifting news, to be honest, in baseball, and coming out of New York, and it's not the Yankees. And then, but first, we will start in the world of hockey. Bert, NHL. We're inching to the final two. So give it to us.
We're almost there. And 2 weeks ago, you heard me give my predictions to who's going to move on to the finals. And you also heard Corey give his predictions. Sad to report, first, Corey was correct coming out of the West. At the time, there was still a quarterfinals going on. So what Corey had was, of course, Vegas and Dallas playing each other, with Dallas ultimately moving to the Stanley Cup. That's exactly what happened. He didn't do it in the sweep as Corey predicted, but sure enough, last night, Dallas finished up. It was looking close. In the third period, Vegas had that 2-0 lead, but sure as shit, Dallas came right back, forced an overtime, and scored in overtime. So Dallas is going to the Stanley Cup final, I think the first time, I want to say, since 1999 or 2000, and they're looking like a pretty nasty team. Tonight, the Lightning have a chance to eliminate the Islanders officially. They're up 3-1 in that series. If that is the case, my prediction would hold true, where the Lightning would advance for the East. They would play Dallas for the Stanley Cup final. And if that is the case, I'm still sticking with the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup this year. Like I said, in many weeks prior, they just have the complete team all around. And right now, they're doing it all without their number one guy, their captain, Steven Stamkos, who has been out since COVID started with a lower body injury. There's a chance he could return if they make it to the Stanley Cup final, but nothing's set in stone yet. So to have them go on this tear right now and do what they're doing, I can only imagine if he comes back for the final, they're just going to tear Dallas up.
I wrote it down, Bert. Tampa Bay Lightning winning this thing. All right. Yeah. I'm holding you to it. That's I did watch the Vegas and Dallas game because I was rooting for Vegas just because I think their uniforms look cool. I'm just biding my time until the Kraken make their arrival in the NHL so I can start rooting for Seattle. But I do like Vegas. I mean, I like the underdog. I guess they're not underdogs because they are a really good team, but they're a new franchise. I just like seeing stuff like that. But yeah, it's been interesting. I've actually enjoyed COVID hockey. It's been every time it's not like I'm looking for it, but when it's on, I do end up watching it. So.
Yeah, they're through I think 8 rounds of testing or something like that, and still not one positive test case coming through. So they're doing it right.
At one point they had almost 5,000 tests and zero. I'm sure that numbers went up a lot more, but the last time I saw it, it was around that number there where, zero positive tests. I mean, they've done the bubble perfectly, and so congrats and shout outs to hockey. Ty. Tonight, game one. Right now, it's, as we speak, the Heat are leading the Celtics 61-56. And then later tonight at 9 p.m., we will get the Nuggets and the Clippers to find out who faces LeBron and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. But we're down to the final 5 teams. For me, personally, I want the Nuggets to beat the Clippers so bad. They might. And I think it's hilarious because I think the storyline everybody wants to see is the Celtics and the Lakers,
the 2 LA teams, definitely,
and the 2 LA teams.
That was it was like the whole storyline the whole year. We were kind of going for that. It seems like
the Heat have already ruined the playoffs for a lot of people because they wanted to see Giannis in the finals against LeBron. The Heat ruined that. And I think right now, in terms of NBA storylines, the best you can ask for is Celtics and Lakers. Even though the Celtics aren't particularly interesting, like they don't have, I guess Jason Tatum is a nice story, but there's not like a true blue superstar on that team. So it's,
Kemba Walker, they got a couple. They got a lot of stars, I think.
I guess. I mean, they have a lot of really good players. I don't know if they're stars, but they have chemistry, as the Sixers found out cruelly, as the Celtics, put us to bed. But I think I'm rooting for the Heat and the Nuggets. Adam Silver himself would probably suit up to stop any of those two things from happening. So, what are your predictions for the finals now that we have only 5 teams left?
I picked the Lakers a long time ago. I'm sticking by that pick. I still think that. I mean, the more you see all these other teams, the more it's just obvious, in my opinion, like the amount of talent they have. I mean, LeBron is LeBron. You can hate him all you want. He's LeBron. Give him somebody like Anthony Davis, and it's kind of hard to root against him. Not to mention the supporting cast. They have Danny Green. They have Rondo. They got veterans that aren't just thrown together. They actually want to win. They play their roles fine. They know their roles. You gotta like the Lakers in the finals. I'm rooting for the Heat in the East. Like, obviously, yeah. I'm rooting for Butler. I'm rooting for the Heat, even though it's like a bittersweet thing to watch Butler, dominate in the playoffs. I still, low key am a fan of his. And I'm rooting for him over the Celtics, but I don't believe he can get over the Celtics. Like, they have too much. I like them a lot. Going into the playoffs, going into the bubble, they seem like they got a lot of talent. Like you said, you might not have one superstar, but man, they got a bunch of good guys, and it's hard to really figure out who's gonna take that last shot or who's gonna carry the team in the fourth. It kind of, it can depend, but between Kemba Walker, between Jason Tatum, between Jaylen Brown, and Gordon Hayward, you have too many people that can score the ball and do for themselves, let alone be team players. Marcus Smart off the bench. You have too much, I think, on the Celtics, and they're not chumps. Like the Bucks, I look like as chumps. I'm not surprised that the Heat were able to just chump them. I don't think they can just chump the Celtics. So I think it's going to be a tough series, and I think it's going to go 6 or 7 games, probably 7 games, and I still think the Celtics would take it. Lakers Celtics finals. I'm predicting. Though I'd love to see the Heat. I would also love to see the Clippers lose to the Nuggets, just because. Though I don't think the refs are going to allow that to happen in David Stern. I don't think they're going to allow, or Adam Silver. I don't think they're going to allow the two LA teams not to face each other in a bubble. That'd be like a big miss out for the NBA.
Me, you've known me for years. I will root for the team that eliminates my team. So the Celtics, and I know this sounds blasphemous as a Sixers fan to do this, but I need the Celtics to win the finals. That way I can at least feel better that
we lost to the team that
won, just like the Raptors. I did that to the Raptors last year. I rooted for Kawhi because at that point it was like, at least I can hang my hat that we lost to a team that was capable of winning a championship. So I'm riding with the Celtics as a basketball fan purist, a guy who really knows the game. I don't know if you can hear that train. There's a big ass train going by me right now.
You're good.
But okay. I'm rooting for Celtics Lakers just for the traditionalism of it, just to have that one of those long-standing rivalries. I think it would be awesome to see a young Jason Tatum take on old ass LeBron and his ever growing cast of supporting characters that he always needs to win titles. So shifting away from basketball, we have two major stories coming out just today, a few hours before we came on. The first of which is that the MLB, the owners and the players have both agreed, which is rare, because they spent the entire offseason not agreeing. They have agreed to do the playoffs in a bubble format. and they will have 2 bubbles. Much, I guess the NHL had 4, right, Bert? And then
3.
Three. So baseball's going to have 2. It's going to be California and Texas. Do you like this move?
I 100% like the move, and I'm glad they came to their senses watching the NBA and the NHL, especially when it gets into postseason, right? So they've already seen how much the coronavirus has disrupted the normal play. You have double headers being forced. You have, makeup dates when they're supposed to be off days, and already a hectic shortened season. So they finally got together and said, hey, you know what? We may have fucked up with this whole not bubble thing, but I'll tell you what we'll get right, the postseason. And they've already put a plan into action. So I think this was fully smart for them, and it's smart for them just to remain on track and also keep it, a level playing field for all. For a fact that they weren't going to start double headers in the postseason because they want to make sure that the players get their rest and everybody brings their A game. So I think they're approaching it the right way. Let's just see if they can execute, because again, it's an expanded postseason, right? So you're still going to have a lot of teams that they're going to have to bubble. So let's hope. Hopefully they took the best out of both bubbles that are going on right now, and they're going to put their minds to work and make something even better.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. Obviously a little too late, it seems like, but better late than never.
Yeah, it's it probably should have been something that was already done by baseball. Maybe they could have had 4 or 5. I get that there's a lot of moving parts with baseball, a lot of players and how they rotate certain lineups, but like Ty was saying, it's better late than never, and obviously the bubble works. So NHL obviously has done it really well. The NBA up until this point, we've only had a few instances, right? Lou Williams faking a funeral to go to a strip club, and Daniel House Jr. Daniel House Jr. Cheating on his wife with a coronavirus nurse, getting kicked out of the bubble. And I will blame him for the Rockets, even though everybody knows it's James Harden's fault. But anyway, so good for baseball. Another power move in baseball happening. Steve Cohen, billionaire, multi-billionaire Mets fan, buys the New York Mets for $2.45 billion, somewhere around there. This is important, for me as a budding Mets fan. It's really more.
This is very important. That train you heard, that was the money train.
That
was a money train.
Uncle Stevie's here, boys. That's right. Uncle
Live looking.
Oh my God.
Let me break it down real quick.
Yeah, go, Mike. Yeah. The baton is passed to you. Go.
This was the Mets payroll, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was the Yankees payroll, right? You got it? You with me so far? This is our new payroll, baby. Woo! We're rich, bitch. Deal with it. We're not going anywhere. We're going to get JT Realmuto. We're going to get, you name it, any free agent we want. We'll just piss money away. This man, for a stick figure, it looked like Carl, a skeleton version of Carl, $150 million. $150 million. David Wright money. We're going to have like 10 David Wrights on the field. Let's go. Hey, Michael Conforto tomorrow. Let's go.
Hey, Mike, so don't sugarcoat it and tell us how you really feel. So, Mike, seriously.
That explains every kid in the 90s how they felt if they were a Yankee fan. Times 1,000. Look, like we now sip champagne from flutes. This is what we do here. You're not up to, like, anybody says I'm crazy. We're trendsetters now. So what I'm wearing now is what you'll be wearing tomorrow, guys. Deal with it. This is what happens when you're rich.
To quote the great philosopher Conor McGregor, we're here, baby. Break out the red panties.
Right.
So,
I
Mike,
got all the seats in the studio, replaced them with piles of money.
Okay. Hey, we're going to be diving into the gold like Scrooge McDuck. Don't even worry about it. The Mets are here. And the reason why this move is important, not only does it get the Mets from underneath the Wilpon and whatever the Katz family that have ruined the franchise, it shifts the balance of power, not only in baseball, but more importantly, New York. Because, I think we can all agree outside of maybe LA, New York is the top baseball market. Maybe it is the top. Who knows? I mean, it's between the Dodgers, who also are one of the richest teams. But this gives high-level players an option to play in New York and not have to follow the Yankees' stringent rules, right? That gives them another – it allows them to choose where in New York they want to play. They're not forced to go – if the money is the problem,
Right.
to force to go to the Yankees.
Go to the orphanage in the Bronx, or they could come to the mansion in Queens. I mean, it's very simple now. Like, there's no way around it, man. This guy, if you ever watch Wolf of Wall Street, it's if my man stopped when the feds told him to. That's Stevie Cohen. They told him to stop. He's got his money, and we're gonna spend it, and we're gonna spend it poorly. And when we make a mistake, we'll just be like, whatever.
Correct. With some more money.
Million. Right. Having money.
The Yankee way.
Underrated.
Yeah. And this is a product of liberal media. They stopped Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez because they wanted real money. Steve Cohen has dead bodies chopped up all over New York, and everybody knows it.
Without a doubt. Like, it might be me after this clip. But
however, as a owner, that's the guy I want running my sports franchises. The guy that's willing to drop a couple bodies and hide them and keep business moving. I love the fact that he sat in his living room with the wife who is clearly with him because he's worth about $14 billion. If anybody knows what she looks like, there's no way he got him on his own merits. And he sat there and said, honey, it's Tuesday. I'm bored. I think I'm going to buy the New York Mets. All right. And here we are. And the Mets have now become a destination for free agents who otherwise would not consider the Mets. So, Mike, before we move on here, I will give you the final word on this move, your in-depth and professional expert analysis.
Well, to quote my partner,
I like this move.
I'm so glad he does. I'm glad he does. I just want him to know how it feels to now be the richest team in New York. We deserve this. It's literally my life penance has been being a Met fan and having to deal with the Wilpons, So knowing that they're gone, that's happy enough. Like, yeah, A-Rod, J-Lo, I didn't care who it was. But Uncle Stevie might mess around. It's just it's unbelievable. I'm speechless. 2021, baby, New York Mets. It's going to be nuts. They're going to have everybody. A-Rod might play for us. Who knows? For a couple $1 billion, he might just play. It doesn't matter. It's just money. We'll grow more. We got.
Oh God, this is great.
This is amazing.
This is great. Yeah, I mean, as like I said, as a budding Mets fan, obviously Mike is a little bit more. He has a lot more turmoil that he is overcoming, and obviously he's showing that now, based on this is going to be the new normal for Mike. This is new normal. Get used to it.
This is like what I wear to the gym now. Like, you got to understand. Like, this isn't even formal wear. This is active wear. Champagne is Gatorade. Cigars are the new. I don't even know what they are, but they're new. And we just spend money now, guys. That's all we do.
We're World Series inside of how many years?
Can you say half a
Realistically.
year? No, yeah. Look, I feel like they're just gonna handle this one. It's probably just gonna happen. I mean, there's Steve Cohen, and then there's
Jesus,
and we got both on our side now. One goes with the other. Like, you got to understand, the tides have turned in New York City. That we now are Major League Baseball. He bought Major League Baseball. That was a package deal. Like, it's just like, we're gonna take whatever we want. The National League All-Star Game will be just played in our stadium every year because it's gonna be our players. Like, it's gonna be crazy. The only thing that could F this up is if, like Jamal said, a couple of dead bodies show up on the middle of Queens, and that would be so Mets. And this guy's now, the feds come and they freeze his assets, and we're crying again. But listen, Uncle Stevie right now is the Lord and Savior in baseball, and I'm so excited. Let's go Mets. And also, we still got a shot, guys. You got to give us a shot. That's what TC said.
Give us a shot.
We're not dead. We might win a World Series this year. It'd be a great parting gift for the Wilpons. Hey, you're out. We finally won. You were the problem. Get out of the Bronx. So he's coming for us. That's next.
Mike, close us out with a Ric Flair woo.
Woo!
Nice. All right. Now another reason to be excited. Week 1, guys, NFL kicked off. Before we get to the games, just everybody go around. Mike, you'll go after Ty. Just give us your overall reaction. Like, was it weird to watch with no fans? Like, how did you absorb Week 1 of the NFL?
Oh man, I didn't particularly find it weird without fans. I'll tell you what, I found it more strange with the dozen fans they had in KC than with no fans at all. And I don't know if it was because some of the games I watched, they were piping crowd noise into it. That just kind of made it seem better. Or maybe it's the fact that I really don't give a shit who's in the stands and I'm watching the players on the field. But I will say it was odd to hear a half empty stadium, actually a 3/4 empty stadium in Kansas City than it was seeing no one there. That's really my only reaction. I couldn't be happier that football is back. There's a sense of normalcy. It started on time. Fall is here. Football's here. I mean, I couldn't be more excited, to be completely honest with you. Actually, scratch that. I could be more excited if all 3 of my fantasy leagues didn't completely shit the bed this weekend. But we'll get into the Give Us a Shot Network fantasy league a little bit later on. So look, I'm excited. I can't wait to see, what the rest of the season holds.
Yeah, I was I don't like the piped crowd noise, but it is what it is, right? You got to deal with it. I hate how it's like it's not the same, right? You can tell it's fake, right? Like there'll be a big play and then it's a delay and then it's like cheers and it's like, oh man, it just feels off. Baseball does the same thing and just I can notice it and it bothers me. But yeah, that's such a small thing that nobody cares. You're watching football and that's all you really care about at this point. The product doesn't look different. It was surprising. I thought it was gonna be real sloppy because of no preseason, but it felt like week 1, man. Like it was really oddly normal. It seemed like I was like, oh, it's just week 1 football. It just kind of snuck up on us, and it didn't seem like it was too different than normal any other year.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I was too busy counting money. No, but seriously, look, out of all the big sports, I feel like they did it the best. One, because they never show their fans anyway. Like, I could tell anybody I was at a game, the odds of you seeing me on TV are slim to none. Like, you barely ever see the crowd anyway. So you hear them, like, I'm not going to lie. Especially in, like, places like Seattle, you hear them. But, the camera angles did not affect the product because they've already eliminated the fans a long time ago. Whereas with baseball, like it's weird. Basketball, because the Disney did a great job of disguising it, it's still weird. And then hockey, I never watched it with fans or without, so couldn't tell you if it's weird or not. But that's pretty much it. I had fun. Shout out to my boy Will Richardson for winning. That money. Maybe Steve Cohen will buy the Jags next. I hope so because I am hook line with them, man.
Oh my
Let's
god,
go Jags. Jacksonville, best team in Florida, one of the best teams in football right now, boys.
I'm upset that you pretended like you didn't watch hockey, like we haven't gone and seen hockey games together, Mike.
I'm just joking. And actually, I was upset I missed that. And what I would say is that the Islanders need to stop. Look, like they can't defend that D, and if they don't let that D subside, it's gonna
keep running. It's just gonna keep running with the joke, huh? It's just gonna keep it.
Sticks. They got thick sticks, man, and they're just coming after the Islanders, and they're losing off the D end. So they got to work that D, figure it out, and try to force a game 6, and then after game 6, force a game 7. But be careful of that D; it's gonna keep popping up.
Yeah, you got to watch that WAP too. Got to watch that WAP. That whack ass puck going around. You got to watch that.
Yeah, for real. Yes.
Expert analysis, gentlemen.
You can only find it here at the Give Us a Shot Network on Stuff About Sports. So for me, and this will segue into the first game we'll cover just to get it out the way because I know my brother Ty is hurting. For me, I think baseball prepared me for no fans. I think I was okay. The piped-in crowd noise. I mean, I was curious to see if the players had it. Like, I know a lot of the indoor teams lost, except the Saints, I believe. But I think there was like 11 indoor games, and only the Saints won out of all of them. And I know, a lot of the teams feed off that hometown energy. You know what I mean? I know the Bills do specifically, but we played the Jets. But it's just, I wonder as the season, I think the first game, it's like the adrenaline is there. It's the first game. I wonder as the season goes on, I know a lot of teams, specifically the Philly, the Jersey, like the Northeast teams whose states are mandating that there's no crowds. I know a lot of teams like the Bucks and the Bills already said just the first 2 home games, and then after that we'll see. Then most of them are at 25% capacity of things of that nature. So for me, it wasn't that weird. I just, like you said, I enjoyed having football back. So starting with week 1, bless you. Starting with week 1, Bucks and Saints. Yeah, go ahead, Bert.
Ty, what happened to Superman, bro? This is your savior. This is your Jesus Christ coming down here to save the Bucks and bring them a championship. What happened to him? Anyways, no, I mean, look, Brady didn't look like Brady. Let's be honest here. And you can say that they were going up against the Saints D. You can say, hey, new offense, new team. It's going to take a while to gel. But I mean, with all of the offseason acquisitions, you would think that they were building some type of like Megatron Transformer-esque looking team that was just going to roll through everybody this season. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I will say, after reviewing all the stats after the game and not hearing his name as much, Rob Gronkowski, Jesus, for taking a year off, you'd think they have him more involved in the offense. And I just want to laugh at all of you fuckboys that drafted him for your fantasy leagues this year, expecting him to be one of the biggest players in the NFL again. Joke's on you. What do you have, 2 catches for like 11 or 14 yards? He's a bust, calling it all season. He's nothing but a distraction. And I honestly think he's Tom Brady's little support bitch is what it comes down to.
No, you are kind of right about Gronk.
I don't know how you feel, bro.
No, you're right about Gronk. I was definitely staying away from Gronk in fantasy. There's too many options there, and he's old. He might have a game where he gets 100 yards and a touchdown or so. There might be a game in there, but for the most part, he's going to get 3 or 4 catches, 40, 50 yards maybe at the most. That's what he probably would get on average. But I'm honestly I don't feel too bad after week 1. To be honest, and I predicted before the season started that the Saints would win the conference or the division. So, and I've been very clear about that. I think the Saints will have a better regular season record than us. I predict them to go 11 or 12 or 13 wins, and we'll be, a game or 2 behind 10, 11 or 12 wins. I still think we're fine. I don't feel any kind of way. I watched obviously the entire game, and Brady looked, he looked out of sorts at times, and I still refuse to bet against Brady. I don't care what anybody says. If he has 2 or 3 more weeks of looking bad, and I don't think he didn't. To me, he didn't look bad. There was just a couple silly plays, and I think I can chalk that up to no preseason and not a lot of preparation. There's just a lot of practice and a lot of route running, but until you get on a field like that means something. The Saints were supposed to win that game. They better have won that game with their offense. Our defense looked well. That's why I'm even feeling better. Is like our defense looked really good, and our running game looked decent. I'm not too worried, man. I'm betting on Brady every week, no matter what's going on. So I feel good going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, first game, no preseason. You had to expect that there would be some type of disconnect, right? But it's Tom Brady. He's a fighter. He's going to figure it out. If you go back and listen to my co-owner and our king, Ty, and he told you the Saints could win the division, but he knows that Tom's going to bring them to the playoffs, and he knows that they're going to go deep into the playoffs. And, so Tom Brady's going to re-evolve. He's got a lot more weapons than he's ever had, and he has to figure out himself a little bit too.
Not to mention, we don't have to win this year. It's okay if we don't win this year because we got Brady for 3 years. You book it. He's in his prime right now. This is Brady's prime. He's mentally sharp. He's ready, man. That TB12 regimen, you watch.
So I had a couple things written down here. I was going to come in here and get Tyshan with trash plebe, Tom Garbage, AAR Brady. However, as I was watching this game, yes, the Bucks could have benefited with a preseason. And if you guys remember correctly, when we did our way too early predictions, I said you can't just throw together a team and expect immediate success. I said that. You can check the tape. I actually found this game to be more of an indictment on the Saints. And here's why. You guys had the familiarity. You've been together. You have the Sean Payton. You have Drew Brees. You have a loaded team. You only added Emmanuel Sanders. You still had Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, the best receiver in the game. You needed to win that game at home by more than 11 points.
Look at those stats. Yo, look at Michael Thomas's stats and Kamara's stats. I'm proud of our defense. Continue.
The defense.
In all fairness, Michael Thomas is hurt, but
I get it. But it's when you're the Saints and you have more of a continuity, you're at home. You need to be beating a Tampa Bay. And Tom, he looked to me, and it could just be I hate overreacting to week one, but that's what we do. It looks like he's hit the age wall a little bit. It's not even a fact. Like, you could look at the stats and say that, but if you actually watch the game, it just didn't seem the same. Before we move out of this game, Ty, what did you take away from Bruce Arians kind of taking a shot at Tom Brady? Did you like that or no?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough thing because Belichick isn't like that. Belichick didn't coach like that. But Arians, this is kind of how he is. He'll speak. He'll be real about it. He'll be open. He'll give his analysis. So if that's how he read it and that's how he perceived it, then that's how he should speak, because that's how he spoke about Winston. And Brady probably shouldn't be treated any differently. And I hope Brady appreciates that. And and Brady himself admitted to some of those mistakes. So I think it's fine. I like our coaching staff, and I think it's different for him working with somebody like Brady, but he's worked with other guys of his stature and Manning and other people. So I think Arians knows what he's doing, and I'm not too worried about him making that statement. And I hope it motivates Brady but I know Brady's watching this. He knows he tunes in, and he tunes in every week. He doesn't want us. Yeah, he's a fan. He doesn't want us to be he doesn't want to be clowned. He's gonna use this as a motivation. This is bulletin board material for him, and he's gonna come back even stronger.
I think Arians made that statement knowing that he's got to get it out there that this is still his team, and by no means is it Brady's team. And Belichick ran his ship his way, right? The cone of silence. He says what he needs to say, and they'll take everything in house. Arians putting it out there like that. That's letting everybody know, hey, listen, this is how I'm running my team, and I don't give a shit if you're a 6-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady or not. If Tom still wants to play here, he's gonna have to play my way. If not, he's gonna have to find another team. Plain and simple.
Yeah, Bert, I agree. The Cards and 49ers. So the real noteworthy thing about this game is that the Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins connection is working, and it's working early. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we were concerned about, right? So, Hopkins in a new format, is he going to connect with Kyler Murray? And I know that we've had it both ways here when it comes down to Kyler, There are a lot of people singing his praises, but have we seen enough for him to prove himself? And I honestly think they found that connection with this. Plus, I got to be honest with you, Kyler just looked like a beast. He did. I know he only threw for one, but he ran one with one interception, but a 230. I got to tell you, for a second-year guy, he's looking really, really good. So I forget who it was. It was either Jerm or Ty that had the prediction that he was going to be something.
I said he was going to win MVP.
Yeah, that was high. So, we may be looking at it. And Hopkins 151 on the day, 14 receptions. Doesn't look like he even skipped a beat. Doesn't matter who's throwing to him. He's going to completely beast it and earning that huge contract he just got. So.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I bet on this game. I bet on the Cardinals to win, and went pretty well. I'm not too surprised with them, coming out against the Niners. Niners coming off of they didn't win the Super Bowl, but still they're high on that Super Bowl appearance. I still think they're a better team. If they played 10 times, they probably beat them 8 times, the Niners. But the Cardinals, man, they're hot. You know, they're young. I'm not surprised they came out in week 1 and made a statement like this. That's why I bet on them. I like Kyler. I made that known before the season as an MVP pick. And, you know, with DeAndre Hopkins, man, did exactly what I predicted. Like having somebody like that to just trust to catch the ball like damn near every time you throw it to him, you know, that's a security blanket and a half. And not to mention D-Hop has, you know, Larry Fitzgerald to learn from. Just that combination in itself like made me feel really good going into the season. I think the Cardinals are going to surprise a lot of people, and Kyler Murray as well. So I'm proud of them, and I hope that they make some noise this year.
I went with the Niners because my godmother, whose birthday was last couple weeks ago, passed away from cancer. Huge Niners fan. It was a 3-point difference. I like Kyler Murray. I kind of took the bet just because of the fact that maybe in my head I'm used to losing, so I thought maybe he'd win anyway if I bet against him. So I was happy to see him win. You know, but right now Corey and I do this pick'em league. He's got 8, I got 5 right. So I had a terrible week. I got to get better. That's it. That's all I got to say. Got to stop using the head and start using the money. You know, stop using the heart, not the head. Use the head.
Yeah.
Use the head.
Well, rest in peace to the godmother. The one takeaway I also had from this game was like, I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo's good. He reminds me of the girl that your friend is dating, and they're like, she's pretty
Noticeable.
She doesn't have any flaws that are like noticeable. Nothing's wrong with her, but for some reason, like you're just like, I don't know about her, man. Like something about her, you know what I mean? Like, don't marry her. Like, I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. Just something's off. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. So, yeah, just something off about him. All right, Cowboys and Rams. New coach, same old Cowboys.
Same old boys. And as a Giants fan, I know we lost last night. Couldn't have loved this anymore. But the Rams are the real deal, man. They showed up, and they showed up to destroy the boys. So this is actually one of the games that I didn't get to watch, but saw the recap of it in itself. I mean, I saw Zeke was still putting up close to 100. But other than that, Dak had a decent outing, but only threw for 1. So, but when it comes down to the other side, you had Jared Goff still throwing for 275, but they were heavily relying on the run game the whole time, which is basically the epitome of what the Rams have been. So,
yeah, I missed the game as well, but not surprised the Rams were able to take it. The Cowboys, you know, you expect them to play better in terms of offensively. You know, I want more from Zeke. I drafted Zeke early in our league. Not early, actually, pretty late. I think actually it was like I forgot what pick I had, but you know I like to see more from them. Not too surprised. Yeah, man, the Cowboys got to step it up if they expect to do something. CeeDee Lamb, he had a couple big catches, I guess, because he had 5 for 59, but you know, a lot of that was yards after catch. So I mean, he looks like he's as advertised. Yeah, I want to see more CD.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. It made Monday, as a Giants fan, a lot more digestible. It was like I know it's week 1, but it felt like we're playing with house money. You saw the birds go down, the boys go down, the football team, just God will take them down. So, you know, we were flying high, man. So we lost, but whatever. Like, it didn't matter because those clowns lost too. And the clown boys is what I call them, you know, so whatever, man. Like
the irony of that game is that the Cowboys, if Jason Garrett was coaching that game, the Cowboys probably would have won. Because
and the reverse. And Brandon Nimmo hit a solo home run, ladies and gentlemen.
The money's already working. The Steve Cohen effect is already.
But it's the house that was made for the Mets. We're in Citizens Bank, boys, and that's our house. So 2-1 is like being up 10-0 already. So we got this, even though we're down by 1. Let's go.
Oh, so they're playing in Philly. The Mets are playing in Philly.
It's like a wiffle ball field. Like
gotcha.
Like,
so speaking of Philly, Washington and Philadelphia.
Oh man! Wow! Wow! Oh man! Look, if there's one thing I love, and again, look, for like Mike was saying, as a Giants fan, there's really no winner in watching, two of your other division rivals go at it. But if there's one thing I do enjoy, it's the Eagles imploding after having a lead. And the vice versa would be with the football team too. But I got to tell you, there's nothing that makes me happier, probably because Eagle fans, and I say this with the utmost offense, Eagle fans are easily one of the worst fan bases in the NFL. So
100%.
So when they're out there chirping on social media that, oh yeah, Birds got it, Birds are back, look out, and then next thing you know, here comes the football team. So look, that's my takeaway from it, is they're sitting here talking shit while they're up, and next thing you know, Birds can't close out a game.
Yeah. I had a parlay that got ruined because of the Eagles. They should have won. Like, I had no business losing this freaking game. And of course, like the only week I ever put any money on them in a parlay, they're the only team that ruined that parlay. How dare the Eagles? I'm not surprised though, man. They're good for this kind of stuff. To the damn football team, like the football team. What football team? The football team. Like the generic ass football team. And I guess I'm happy for Dwayne Haskins. I'll say that. I watched a lot of that game because it was like the only local game on, and I was rooting for Dwayne Haskins going into the season. I want to see him do well. I'd be honest, because he's black. I don't care. And he didn't look that well. And like at first I'm like, man, they got to put Alex Smith in, and they kept him in, and somehow he fought back. So I really liked the way he stuck in the game and didn't give up and still made plays, even though the stats were like not the greatest. 17 for 31. He was throwing the ball a lot. He threw 31 attempts and only got 178 yards. It wasn't the greatest of games, but for him to fight and still pull it out, says a lot about him in my opinion. So I'm happy for Haskins. I hope he develops a little bit more and can complete at a higher percentage. That's really it.
Yeah, I'm just hoping the Phillies hung out with the Eagles and that losing streak rubs off. But also, I had a parlay, and ironically, it was I picked the Bears, the Packers, and the Panthers. And if they won, I won an insane amount of money. I think I bet like
$14 billion.
Dude, not even. Like, it was, I would have gotten that. It was like $50. You got like $450. It was sick.
Right.
So the Bears were down. They end up winning. So I'm all excited. But the Panthers obviously couldn't get out from underneath themselves. But with this Eagles game, I was excited to watch them implode. I'm excited to watch any Philadelphia team implode. Please, Phillies, do that. But with that said, boys, I leave you. I got a big week this week. The divide is going to be on Thursday night and Sunday night. Hopefully, we'll have this guy, whoever he is, Sunday with me as our producer. But thank you, boys.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, the Divide Live coming to you. I love you guys. Stuff About Sports is our longest running show. I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up and keep it going.
All right,
buddy.
All right. So, all right, cool. Then Mike kind of segued us with the Bears. Let's go ahead and do the Bears, and we could speed through some of these bad or worse games.
Yeah.
But the Bears. The interesting thing from the Bears and the Lions was that Mitch Trubisky. That was the worst thing that could happen to the Bears. If you're a fan, Mitch Trubisky somehow always through the hairs of his nuts always makes it through one of these situations. He should not be starting. I understand why he's starting. I get it from a franchise kind of setting, like if you believe in the confidence thing. He has no business starting, and it's a shame that he won that game. They're delaying the inevitable there, right?
I will actually go with a different argument in your direction. I was shocked at this game being as close as it was and the back and forth as it was. But what I will say is, for once, what I've seen from Mitch Trubisky is that this was the only time he's shown me that he could actually hang in this league. Last season, he looked like the biggest train wreck out there. I'll say pleasantly surprised with his performance, and even more so in the fact that he was able to spread the ball around to so many different receivers too. You didn't think, the Bears were this much of a deep threat, but they were. So look, that's my main takeaway from it. Now that's week 1. Good old Mitch can come back week 2. So, we'll have more for you next week for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to say, you see AP's numbers though. I ain't even mad at the man. He's
but yeah, I just feel bad for Matt Stafford. It's just he's going to retire, and we're going to look back at it and say, God, man, like just wasted a career in Detroit. I feel bad for him, to be honest with you, because if you put Matt Stafford on like the Vikings, for instance, then that's a whole different story. And speaking of the Vikings, nothing really to note there. I hate the cliche, like the score isn't indicative of how the game. That game is like that. The Packers spanked the Vikings. I don't know what I think. I don't think it has as much to do with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings as it does. The number one lesson here is don't piss off Aaron Rodgers, right?
I was literally going to say the same thing, and there's a reason I drafted him, although it didn't help my fantasy team. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, you can read through the conflict he went through last season. You can read through the coach firings, and it is what it is. Aaron Rodgers knows what's best for the team, and you hate to put a quarterback ego above the rest of the team in itself, but obviously out with McCarthy, he had it right the whole time. As you can tell, McCarthy going to the boys, they suck. But Aaron Rodgers, man, monstrous day. 364, 4 touchdowns, damn near crispy all day. So hopefully he keeps it up the rest of the season and he reproves himself, because, the past 2 seasons he's looked shaky and people were starting to think, all right, is he past his prime? But I'll tell you what, he looked damn good Sunday.
A-Rod the God. That's all you really got to say.
Godgers. Let's see here. Titans. If you stayed up till midnight to watch 16-14 of Titans Broncos, then shame on you. So we'll move on from there. Yep. Steelers Giants was 2 things really. The only things you really need to know about this game. And I'm sorry, Bert, but I will tell you, we'll get the Steelers out of the way because a lot of people wrote them off. A lot of people wrote off Ben Roethlisberger. I needed to see him be bad first. He was hurt last year, and the year before that, he was great. And he looks great now. He slimmed down. He doesn't look like a hobo. He looks like a quarterback again. They lost James Conner, but Benny Snell picked up all the slack. Chase Claypool, you guys remember I wanted the Bills to draft him because I told you guys there's a lot of Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy love. Chase Claypool is the man, and he proved it.
That catch in the first quarter,
yeah,
that was sick.
I can't complain because at that point, we ended up getting Stephon Diggs out of the deal, eventually. But I wanted us to draft a receiver, and he was the one I wanted, and so the Steelers are reaping that benefit. But so more importantly, Bert, Danny Dimes, other than that one YOLO interception that he threw, trying to make something happen after a 19-yard drive, which was amazing. He looked good for the most part outside of that bad interception.
So he looked like he was putting in some work this offseason because his passes were on dimes. They were 100%. And aside from that one whoopsie interception, and I can't even completely put it on him. I know he was trying to force something in there, and then someone got their hand in the way. So that's what made the wobble and made it go up front. So, he looked good. What I will say they need to get better at, and this is something that we've known for years, is their offensive line looks like Swiss cheese. The poor kid is running for his life like Eli was. And I have a message for Evan Engram, who can be one of the best tight ends in the league. All he has to do is, 1, catch a perfectly thrown ball to you. And 2, when you're in that support play where it requires you to actually make a block, sack up and make a fucking block. I was tired of him sitting there half-assing these puss hands, putting them up there, and then sure as shit, you have people running through and getting to my boy Danny. So, look, the Giants need to clean it up. Again, new offensive coordinator, new coaching staff completely, new coach with Joe Judge. So let's hope next week's a little bit better, because although they lost, I did see some promise in them. So they just got to tighten that shit up.
Daniel Jones had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
They were stopping Saquon. They were not letting him do anything.
I watched the game, and I'm surprised in the Steelers, and going off of Claypool. They have a lot. They have a lot of receivers that are you don't even notice. Like, man, these guys they have a decent receiving core, and Benny Snell looked pretty good as well. So I think the Steelers are gonna be better than I expected this season.
So coming off of that, there's nothing really to say. We're going to skip the Ravens and the Browns, other than Baker Mayfield is a bust. They're openly shopping Odell Beckham Jr. And Lamar Jackson somehow looks better than he did last year, so he's probably going to be MVP again. So we'll move on from that, unless you guys have any other thoughts on that.
No,
You pretty much summed it up.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see. Seahawks and Falcons. The only thing out of that game, the Seahawks are legit. They're more legit than I thought they were going to be. Russell Wilson is a monster. Jets Bills. I'm not going to talk too much about this game, other than the Bills probably should have put up 40. Josh Allen had 2 really bad fumbles, but it wasn't like he got sacked and fumbled the ball. He was trying to make a play. He's just one of those guys that he tries too hard. You know what I mean? He just hold the ball, and if you're gonna scramble, just protect and fall where you're gonna fall. Other than that, you know,
it's crazy. If you look at the numbers, it's crazy. 46 attempts, Josh Allen, and also 14 rushes. It's literally he's doing everything. That's not he can't do
it's
that.
not sustainable.
Always.
There has to be a balance. I think with the Jets, they gave it to him. There were a lot of designed runs, but a lot of that was breakdown in plays, and I think he just noticed things that the Jets were giving him that he took. He was 70% completion percentage, which is amazing. He had 300 yards, first 300-yard game. It's the first 300-yard game by a Bills quarterback since Tyrod Taylor did it back in 2015. I'm okay with not throwing 300 yards. If you can get me 70% completion, then the Bills are going to win a lot.
He has but between rushing attempts and passing attempts is 60 attempts at running or throwing. That's a lot. But I'm not mad at Josh Allen.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I was actually impressed, and very impressed. I'll say it outright, and I'll apologize to Germ and the Bills community. I'm sorry I ever doubted Josh Allen, to be honest with you. So he reminds me, honestly, of a smarter RG3, and I mean this football IQ because even when he is running, he knows when to slide or throw it away or just get out of trouble, as opposed to trying to be Superman all the time. And that's how RG3 got hurt really bad. So this is great news for the Bills, because you play the Jets again, but also you play possibly an even worse defense that allows a lot of room for QBs to run too, and that's with Miami. And we just saw what Cam Newton of the Patriots did to Miami this past weekend too. So look, if the Bills can, like I said, keep it tight and keep it on, I think they're going to be a major threat. I love Stephon Diggs too. I'm so glad he's gelling well there and he's back to Ziggy form. So I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah, they connected well. Stephon Diggs had about 88 yards. It was the first game with no preseason, but there were some throws there that Josh Allen could have protected him a little bit better, but that's just going to come with time. John Brown, still important to the team. The Bills have a lot of weapons. If they can clean up some of those turnovers, they'll be good. So speaking before we go on, a lot of people need to apologize to Josh Allen. Because coming out, a lot of people had him ranked as the worst of the drafted QBs. We know that Lamar Jackson was drafted last in the first round of the QBs. He is easily the best. All those people, the same people that are trying to tell me that Josh Allen isn't good and making up all the excuses to say he's not a good quarterback, are the same ones trying to make excuses for Sam Darnold. Enough is Sam Darnold. He's not good. This game, he was awful, and he's been awful. He's not a good quarterback. He's a backup. He's a backup quarterback. Baker Mayfield, we just watched him again. He's a bust. Josh Rosen was literally sitting in the stands in Tampa Bay. He's been on 3 different teams already. So Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson look like the only successful quarterbacks coming out of that draft. All right, so give it to me, guys. Cam Newton, go ahead. Put me in my place. It was the Dolphins. It was the Dolphins. But go ahead.
Exactly. It was the Dolphins, but Cam's back, man. Despite what he wore pregame, he is back, And again, it's the Dolphins, but if you're going to run for 75, run 2 in, that's Cam. That's his MO, right? He's mobile. He's going to run. But look at his arm too, though. 15 for 19, so good completion percentage, only 155. It just sounds honestly like they were taking more advantage of the run game with Miami's lax defense. So we'll see what happens when they actually have to play a better team. But overall, got to be happy Cam found a spot, and he looks like he's back to Cam form.
Yeah, I don't got to say much. I didn't already told you that Cam was going to have a good season. And to me, it's just a simple common sense thing, in my opinion. Cam is super talented, and the Patriots coaching staff are super great at coaching. So just combine that, and what do you expect to get? Cam is great, and you hated on him all you wanted to, but you can't. He never had Bill Belichick. Like, he never had Josh Daniels. This is a elite coaching staff, Hall of Fame coaching staff. Throw in a Hall of Famer talent, you can't expect much different. They utilize his skill set very well. He doesn't have to drop back and throw 30 times. He's going to use his body and get yards and get touchdowns just from running it in, and easy plays. They're going to be really smart about him. And if he does get hurt, you know how Belichick is. He has trust in Stidham and to come in. So I like him. I like him to win the division.
I'm almost more angry at the Dolphins for keeping Fitzpatrick in, to be honest with you. I mean, he had an absolute shit day, and this is nothing new for Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, he's high in interceptions, and I get it. You're behind. You're going to want to throw the ball as much as possible. But for a veteran guy, especially one that's played with multiple teams in multiple formats, you would think he'd learned by now, but he doesn't. And he's a smart guy too. Look, he's a Harvard grad. I'm not knocking. I'm sure he's a great guy.
He plays the way he plays, though.
And after you draft a stud, first round, why not give the kid a chance? I mean, I thought we
were going to see him.
Exactly. You just watched your starter throw 3 interceptions. Shit, put him in for the last quarter. Like, try to get something going at the very least.
They should start doing that. Even if he's not a starter and naming him the starter, just give him the last quarter or something. Like, why not? Like, just be a little bit different and get him some reps. They really should do that.
No need to rush it in this type of compromise season. I understand it. It's that they drafted him first round. They think he's a super talent. He has some injury concerns. I don't think you'd see him this year for any reason. So quickly, just to rush through the rest of these, there's nothing to Chiefs, Texans. I mean, it's the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is God. Bengals, Chargers.
Texans will say David Johnson looked well. I think the Texans looked well as well. They just played the best team in the league. That's all. But I think the Texans look decent too.
So you're right. So the problem with the Texans is exactly what happened. They traded away a playmaker, and when they needed a playmaker to catch the ball, they didn't have one. So it would have been, you're right. They looked a lot better than I thought. David Johnson did look a lot better than I thought. I will say about the Chargers and the Bengals, Joe Burrow played well. I know he didn't throw a touchdown, but he looked like a pro. It's a shame that he lost that game because his kicker missed a field goal. It's a shame. He had a beautiful game-ending drive, and they couldn't get it into overtime. That team, just needs time. Joe Burrow looked a lot better than that. I know. I did pick them to win the division because I thought the team would be better, just because I believed in Joe Burrow. But it was pretty good to see him play well. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Carolina Panthers boys. Vegas looks all right. Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdown runs. David Carr, or not David Carr, which one's Derek Carr? Derek Carr looks good, man. This is why John Gruden's stuck with him. He looks like a franchise quarterback again. I wonder if we were a little bit wrong about John Gruden. Maybe just needed some time to get it together. And I know we were criticizing him off the Khalil Mack trade and all these other things, but the Raiders look good.
They do. They look really good. Teddy Bridgewater looks good too, man. I got to be honest with you. I mean, it's one of these games where you're just happy that, both, I guess, your favorites did well. We'll put it that way. C-Mac coming back in true form too at 2 TDs and 92. So.
And I think that is it for all of the games. We went through all of them. Minshew Mania, alive and well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Colts Jags.
The Phillip Rivers laid a dud. But that's what you get with Phillip Rivers. You get a lot of those YOLO plays, and it's just one of those things. You get a new quarterback. We'll chalk it up to week 1, no preseason. Maybe the Colts will look a little bit better, but the Jags look a lot better than people were ready to put them at 0-16. The tanking for Trevor, but it looks like Gardner Minshew won't let that happen.
I mean, look, if you're looking at the numbers, it looks like Indy should have won this game. I mean, Phillip Rivers threw for 363. His QBR is 56. So I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know, man. Like I said, you look at the numbers and it is. And then you go to Minshew. I mean, he didn't even throw for 200, but he threw for 3 touchdowns. And I honestly think the only person to blame on Indy, or the only collective group of people to blame on Indy, is their defense. Plain and simple. When your offense is showing up and at least making the effort, you got to come up with the stops. But I mean, hey, is that just a win in the Minshew column? Because like you said, a lot of people writing him off, and he's coming with the fire. So
Minshew, man, Minshew is that dude. Like, you can't write him off, and you can't. I mean, you're not gonna. They're not going to bench him. He has to just be. He has to be given the keys, and you got to step aside. He's done nothing but prove that he's a starter. And man, I'm rooting for them guys, of course, especially with him and Will Richardson.
Yeah, shout out to Will Richardson and that team. Minshew is one of those guys that he may not like do anything that like sticks out. You know, he doesn't have any like, you know, other than his mustache, any real quarterback characteristics. But he's a baller, man. He's a leader. The guys like him. That's just as important as what you can do on the field. The other noteworthy thing of that game, Marlon Mack tore his ACL for the Colts. So shout out to him, and hopefully you recover and come back from that. So that was week 1. I can't wait for week 2. It's NFL. I mean, it's you know, there's nothing like NFL Sunday. There's nothing like it. Hopefully, college does not come back this year, so we can get some NFL on Saturday too. I know that's what's being discussed, but you know, I'm ready. I'm recovered. I went to rehab. I'm ready to do more sports in my nose and in my veins, and inhaling it and smoking it, and any other way I can get my high. So we will close out the segment with the update of the Give Us a Shot Fantasy Football League. It was a wild week 1 in the Give Us a Shot Fantasy Football League. Slow down, big fella. Did not like this team as Jermaine beat Corey's team 118-107. You know, Corey put up a good fight. He had Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey. They gave him 20+ points, 25 points, but it wasn't enough for Russell Wilson and Alvin Kamara and Raheem Mostert, who also out of that 49ers game. Good for him. He had a bounce back. I know he was hurt last year, and it's good to see the young guy get his touches. Up next, NYC Pipe Bomb. Is that the guys from Pain Train Pipe Bomb?
Yes, sir.
Ricky? Yes, sir. Yeah. The Pipe Bomb blew up the Philly Rack Attack. They didn't want none of that stuff with Josh Jacobs and Patrick Mahomes leading the way, and Chris Carson. Jesus. That's a nice little trio up there. Brovid-19. I guess the Give Us a Shot Network and Mike was susceptible to it. He must have some prior respiratory issues, because Brovid-19 took him down. Mike somehow only scored 47 points this week. So we're going to do top 5, bottom 3. I'll just give you a wild guess who's at the very bottom of that bottom 3. The Cleveland Steamers took a dump on Chucky's Stay Hype squad while Odell Beckham was watching. 109-85. Dalvin Cook, Mark Andrews, and then had Matt Stafford up there. We had a little domestic abuse as Ty's Brady Bucks put a whooping just barely over So Good It Hurts. Lauren, Ty's spouse, had to put her in her place.
You said it.
Let her know what's
you
up.
said it.
I said it. Yeah, I said it. Put her back in the kitchen. So, and then, of course, the Smart Out Club ran wild on the Lone Rangers. The Lone Rangers probably should have called for some help. They can't be by themselves. Of course, led by Josh Allen and Devontae Adams, who went nuts, and the Kansas City rookie sensation, the Fresh Prince of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, yeah, I mean,
that's a nice pickup right there. That guy is gonna do you good all season long. We can see.
I hope, man. It's as if the Kansas City Chiefs needed any more offensive help. It looks like they finally have a consistent running back. I know Damian Williams, who was supposed to be their starting running back, who opted out because of COVID-19. He has to be sick, because he ain't getting that job back if Clyde Edwards keeps running like this. As it stands in week 1, the top 5, bottom 3. At the bottom 3, Chucky, the defending champion, is at number 10. The Lone Rangers, Bert, at number 11, and of course, Mike's Give Us a Shot Network team is last. At the top 5, the Smart Out Club is number 1 because I scored the most points. Ricky's NYC Pipe Bomb, number 2. Number 3 is Slow Down Big Fella. and which is LJ, fan of the show, Cleveland Steamers, Ray Kent's at number 4, and rounding out the top 5 at number 5 is the Brady Bucks, and that would be Ty's team. So we'll see what happens, man. We're gonna keep track of this thing every year. Guys, do you have anything we missed or any closing statements?
I'm just glad football's back, man. We got the core 4 sports back in action. Like Ty said, or like Germ said, it's complete overload right now. And I mean, it's surprising we only kept this to an hour about the shit we can talk about. So
yeah,
I got nothing besides, in time I trust. In time I trust.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hey, all you pundits out there, apologize to Josh Allen because you thought she'd be a bum. Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, they're all bust. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen forever. Thank you for all who watched live. Thank you for those who are watching whenever you're going to end up watching this. Please like, rate, subscribe, share the Give Us a Shot Network and stuff about sports, and push the agenda and the divide and Pain Train Pipe Bomb and the 3-episode podcast who said hi to us in the live chat. So what's up, guys? Other than that, you guys have a good night, and we will talk to you next week. Sports.
I love y'all.
Yes.
Good.
All right, man.
good
All right,
stuff.
Yeah,
See
very
you
good.
guys.
Good night.
Later.
Good night.